Can we hear me? I'm not sure if we can hear me. Checking and seeing if we can hear me. There we are. Oh, here we go. There we go. You can hear me. Indeed, you can hear me. Okay. Yeah, the numbers came out with the ADP, and it kind of excited, not excited, just there was some strength in the market out of nowhere. I mean, just everything is going to be wacky at this point. Let's bring down this volume here. Now that I know I can hear me. But, the Federal Reserve, they're saying, oh, this is going to put more pressure on the Federal Reserve. I still think this is it. This is the end. This is the last increase. I think they're just going to find polite ways, soft ways not to shake everybody up. That's pretty much what it comes down to. And what I mean by shake them up is that they are going to make it sound like they're on top of it, and they will strike in between meetings. They'll say something like that. It'll make it sound like they're really focused. The same people that took 13 months. Now we're celebrating the 13th month of interest rate increases. One of the fastest moves we've seen in a while, in say 40 some odd years. And 13 months. So what's that say? That says in 2022 of March, as I said yesterday, they finally realized after over a whole year and 2 months that they were in trouble with the inflation. But for a whole year and 2 months, they couldn't figure it out. So in other words, everything that comes out of their decision-making process and their statements are really, really, what's the best way to describe it? Trustworthy, not trustworthy at all, really. I mean, I always think like, wow, something's wrong with these people. They don't, what are they following? They're not following what you and I follow. Benny looks good, looking forward to another action-packed day, that type of thing. See the dollar's rolling over a little bit here. Again, that normally would be representing like interest rate rising. Let's see what they're doing to the 30-year bond. Let's see what that looks like at the moment. It was lifting for the last couple of days, or at least yesterday for sure, right there. Yeah, and it's still lifting now. It's higher today than it was yesterday. Remember, when it goes up in price, interest rates are dropping. Okay, we got a green line. We're in a buy. We're in a buy here on that whole weekly thing. So sometimes I just shake my head. Gold? There's gold right here. Now, gold went into the daily buy yesterday. And silver, you can see it right there. And they made a new high. Not a new high. Another, a high. Yesterday's high was at 20.28.8. Okay, so 2s and 8s and a 0, huh? And in today's high is 20.28.9. They made a 10-cent increase and then backed off. And now it's down $8 from where the high of the day. Looking still firm. My voice will crack on that one. It still looks firm. I don't know what to call it. As far as we know one thing for sure, and that is the June contract in 2024 is trading $100 higher. So what does that say? It's not being discounted. It's the opposite. They don't want to let it loose. They're saying no, it's much more valuable. The metals contract overall are basically stalled out. And then here's silver. Silver after that nice little pop. We had strength yesterday, but it's still trapped in this daily sell thing going on here. The weekly is getting very scary. It's like, what is this all about? It's only Wednesday. You're going to try to break into a weekly sell by the end of the week? I kind of doubt it. I don't think the reality is there. Why would anybody want to sell that product at this point? You would think that they'd want to hold on to it. And interest rates look like they're coming down, not up. I guess what it really comes down to is the logic is always going to be like spotty, confused, disorientated. It always makes us wonder, This is all like a giant game of foolishness. It takes the Fed a year or 14 months to figure out we have inflation. 14 months it took for them to figure out we had inflation. At that point, inflation was 6.5%, 7%. Over the next couple of months, it ran all the way up to 10%. Now it's hanging out in the low fives. They're not. The best thing they could do is go on vacation. We should pay them to go on vacation and not make any decisions at all. As Ronald Reagan used to say, we could create an algorithm. Yeah, Ronald Reagan used to talk about that. Just create an algorithm for the Federal Reserve, get rid of all the employees. When money supply reached a certain point, they printed. When money supply got over, they did repurchase agreements. Basically he said, it's a mechanical. Why would we need people in there acting like as if they're making deep decisions? They always predicted recessions wrong. They couldn't confirm that we had a recession 10 months ago when we had 2 quarters of negative growth. So what are they good for? I mean, really. Do you see the dollar going up? No, I really think it wants to go down because I think overall I think that the pairs will catch up a little bit. I think the fundamentals are going to kick in. So in other words, interest rates in the States will start to drop back down. Interest rates in the other countries in the pairs trades will stay high. They will not back them down. And I think that will put some pressure on the dollar to try to break the century mark. I think the dollar really should be in the 96s, 97s. I think it's overpriced. As I sip my tea again. The problem is what it really comes down to. The problem shows us that we're not getting good data, good fundamentals to measure anything. And so the problem is itself us, the government and the Federal Reserve, and they're not doing what's necessary to allow free markets to be free. And so I expect the dollar to slowly drift south. Nothing major, just drift a little bit underneath the century mark. And the problem is that there's no other competitive product besides the euro. The euro is the second most powerful currency in the world, second largest economy in the world. And as long as the media and everybody keeps on pretending that China is that, then people are going to be very confused what to do. Do you see so gold will be going up? I would think sideways up, yeah. I would think sideways up. Because I think they'll be selling dollars a little bit. But will it take off like to the moon, like go to 3,000? I don't. It would take some enormously political disaster for that. And no doubt with Joe Biden, or as I like to call him, Jojo the Monkey. That's what we've been calling him for a long time around here. 30, 40 years we call him Jojo the Monkey. He's like a mad, what do they call it? What's it? That not a hyena, like a orangutan or something like that. He's always crazy like this. He's not that far from here. He's always been goofy. Now the rest of the world has to suffer with me. That's all it comes down to. As I said to somebody yesterday, someone said, I never knew he was this bad. It's like, welcome to the party. Now Joe Biden's been this way forever, and I've had to put up with it because I'm nearby. But man, this guy's a Looney Tune from the beginning. And can he mess things up? He can try, that's for sure. He's not exactly got his act together when it comes to that brain of his. So, what else can I say? From there, we go over to... Oh, okay, it's right. You pulled us into those areas. So I guess we'll go back and look at the dollar index again. We did. Oh, we saw the dollar index. Let's just take a look at it real quick one more time. Right there. And you can see it up on J4X. It's got the little red thing going on. It's trying to break down. You can see it's trying to break down here. And we're in the weekly sell. So, I don't see this as like a major bottom. I just see it as just hesitation and consolidation. That's about it right there. All right. Then from there, let's see, Benny 3000. I like that. It's like Metho 2000. I love that. Also, the 30-year bond. If we can look into that today, please. Oh yeah, let's take a peek at it again. And there it is, right there. As you can see, it's still not at the high of the day, but it's pretty firm and up. You know, it's 18-30 seconds off the high. It was a good push up there at one point. You know, I think that's what it is. Yeah, 6. So we're trading now. We're at 31. No, it's only 7:30 seconds off. I'm sorry, 7:30 seconds off. So you can see it curved a little bit right here. The weekly doesn't seem to want to quit. I would say that's why you're going to see a dollar that's going to go down, and that is because I think interest rates have pretty much plateaued at this point, and I think this is just a big base for a move higher on the interest rate factor. And that's pretty much the name of the game there. Now, we prance over to the euro, unless someone wants to see something else. Guys and gals, if you guys want to see something, shout it out. And we can go back to the 30-year bond if I didn't answer the question. So, did I go to the 30-year? I did go to the 30-year, yeah. Let me just go back to it one more time. I feel like I didn't give it enough time for you. What else can I say about the bond? Yeah, I guess that's about it. That's where my head's at. This is just whoa, let's go like this. Back there. There we go. So this is a base. That's what I see here. And now this is another base. So it's a consolidation. They'll probably find a way to park themselves up into the 33s, that type of thing, 34 area. You know, a little bit higher than 34 maybe. And that will be the next base they'll build between 33 and 34. Let's see. Doc, can we look at the hogs again? Sure. Sometime not rush. No, I like to roam. I'm a trader. I was called a boat person when I was on the trading floor. I'd go from pit to pit. I was always roaming around. That blind squirrel looking for the nut. Right there. Now, what's interesting is that the front month hogs, which is June, is... here it comes now. Okay, so there's beanies. Beanies are taking it on the chin as we speak. Right there. See, June hogs right there are, just sliding into the sell today. Or I guess it was yesterday. They closed in the sell yesterday. And the weekly is still in its buy here. Now, check out the back month, August hogs. The Augie Doggies, as we would scream and yell on the trading floor. Oh, wait a minute, that's cattle. There it is. There's the hogs. And there's the hogs in the buy. And you can see it tried to get into the buy on the weekly last week and failed at it. But the fast is still climbing and holding on. So it makes me think something's going on here. So then let's go back and look at the August hogs. Right there. And it's a little bit different picture, which is interesting. It's already went into the buy last week, holding on to the daily, as long as it can, obviously, right there, even with these 2 weekdays. We've got the weekly pressing down at the moment, and if this thing just turns back up to the 95 area, I would expect to see the weekly probably turn with it. And at the same time, you can see the fast algorithm is above the zero line, so it's not exactly the most weakest view at the moment. Now, the fact that they've parked these things down in the 90s for a while has been kind of surprising to me. Just because of all the meats in general have been so strong. How's that sound, George? Does that make some sense? I mean, when you look at the feeders, oh my God. Metho 2000! Metho 2000. Benny's gone Benny 3000. I like that. That's cool too. You guys should put that theater, like that guy, the robot sitting in the theater with the was it like the binoculars for eyes? That's a good thing to put up on there too. Yeah. So the hogs overall, it looks like a bottom in here, really. It's hard to believe they're going to break the 90s when you see... I mean, look at the feeders. I mean, poor feeders. Look at that. Let's go to feeders. And the contango is all over the place, too. Like, here's May feeders, right? they're trading in the 205. They're coming down from 90 a day ago. This is yesterday. Today hasn't started trading yet. And then you go and you look at the back month of cattle right there. There's Augie Doggies. And those things are 21 cents higher. I mean, and it's pushing into the sell yesterday. So, but the weekly is not breaking down. None of the weeklies are breaking down when it comes to the meats. How's that, George? A-okay? Let's see. George says hogs are at 79 or so. Yeah, it makes sense. Thanks. No problem. Yeah, it's going to be, Robin was telling me that there's 36 or 37 plants that were shut down because of the oversupply at the moment. So, I mean, that's what happens. You can harvest them after 6 months, whereas, a cow, you have to wait 18 months to harvest a cow. So, unless you're going for veal. And you can see what the veal is like. I mean, you're looking at, what, for feeders or, $2.05 on the hoof? I mean, wow. And the back month is 25 cents higher? Yowzer. Okay, from there we slide over to, did we do the euro yet? I don't think we did. Let's go check out the euro. But trust me, traders, if you guys have any questions, fire them out. Let them fly. We like questions. Me likey questions. And there is the euro. You can see the euro is trying to lift up again, and that's what we say. You can see here the daily buy and the whole bit. It's trying to climb, and still in the weekly buy. And that's what I've been saying overall is, I just don't have. I'm not a big bear of the dollar. I'm just not a bull. That's what it comes down to. I just figured the dollar is going to drift on the downside, for fundamental reasons, which is kind of scary nowadays when you try to use fundamentals as a conversation point on why something might do something. That's the whole strange story in its own right. Right there. So. All right, so you can see the euro doing the same thing. It's trying to bounce up here on J4X. So we're seeing that action kick out. And, it's just that magic, what it is, And the numbers that came out, that ADP should be scaring, should be scaring the market, not more than, helping it, because it's going to make it even tougher for Powell to come out and say something. Like, I think I want to pause. So you want to pause. Good for you, Mr. Powell. All right, from there we'll go to cable. And there is cable. And as you can see there, it's in the second day of a sell. It's not lifting as much as it did take out yesterday's high. But it's still kind of drifting. And you can see here, the zero line is just right there on the edge. They're holding up. Long run on the weekly side. Let's put it up over on J4X. Cable's an enigma in its own right. I mean, I keep on hearing the strangest stories about the new prime minister and the decision-making process. And sounds like the Labor Party is going to blow it. It seems kind of funny. Oh my God, we would call it. He's a rhino or some form, but at this point in time, they're saying that the Labor Party, which should be able to win the next election, is having problems because they have to, basically clean up their own mess all the time. So that's why the cable looks so strange. As you can see there, it's just been one slow, solid launch from the October lows, just slow pushing up. I think we've been like in weekly buys for something, enormously long, and then it goes into this. Oh yeah, that's what it is. Did the hesitation. So it went into the weekly buy in October at the lows here, and then let's bring that line down like that. You can see it was above it for a while. Adjusted a couple times, so it was in weekly sell for 2 weeks there. It was 3 weeks. 2 weeks. That line should be over one, like that. So it makes it 2 weeks in a sell, and then maybe that needs to be moved up a little bit more, like so. and then it gets 5 weeks in a sell for this little slide here, and then right back into the buy again. So since October, it's only been in 2 weekly sells. That's it. And it's been in, there was a buy there. So 1, 2, 3 weekly buys. So out of, what's that, 5 months? April, May, so there's 4 months, and 2 months is 6 months. Out of 6 months, there's been 3 buy signals and 2 sell signals. That's it. So it's been very consistent, I guess you could say. Very had a lot of conviction, that's for sure. All right. Then from there, we dance our way over to the Swiss. Right back where it belongs, heading back for the sell. Not yet, but it's close. And we're in that weekly sell, so we keep on thinking it's going to get back in there. We keep on thinking that the Swiss is going to hang out in the 88s. Is it the 88s? Yeah, 88s, 86s. Between the 86s and the 88s. Or maybe 90, something like that. I don't know. Right around that area. Just a wild guess. Just the way the charts are looking. I don't see a lot of room on the downside, but I do see room. So it's okay. A little weakness in here, or sideways action, bouncing between the 90s, low 90, 90 and a half, things like that, down into the 86 and a half, 87, that type of thing. Just build a base in there now for maybe a couple months. Could be a couple months. You never know. All right. And then from there, we go over to the yen, which is like, a little bit higher than I was expecting. Not the math. The math had no problem with it. It's just me. Kept on thinking that it was going to get back with the gang, but it's not back with the gang. It's on a weekly buy for 3 weeks now, and it's found a way to make a new high and take out. Did it take out that high? I don't think it did. That high was 37.91, and yesterday's high, was that yesterday? Yeah, yesterday's high was 137.77. So it didn't take out that high there, and I'm amazed that it got past the 36s, but. That's that politics stuff, where they come out with a new person in charge of the Bank of Japan, and they want to do new policies, and maybe they're going to smack them around a little bit and say, why don't you hold off for 6 months and then start tearing up the furniture. Because it looks like it's joining in here, selling dollars, buying yen. All right, and then from there, we'll go to Turkish lira, right there. That had slid into the sell a couple of days ago. Now it's back in the buy again. And that's what happens when you're cruising around in all-time highs, and you can see the weekly not really caring about going down. I mean, you can see the fast broke the manifold a little bit here, but the green has not. The slow algorithm is just kind of hesitating. So, again, there's not much conviction, and probably the thing that disturbs me more than looking at gold or silver is the cryptos. Looking at Bitcoin, last I looked, it was still in a sell for a couple days now, and it led the way down. So the bigger question is, will it lead its way up? Jameer, what's happening? How are you? We're just kind of roaming around here looking at what's going on. We had the ADP, the employment numbers come out about, what is it now, 21 and 15, 36 minutes ago. That's why I jumped on a little bit earlier, because it was being wild like that. So it basically made it harder for the Fed to be able to lower, or let's put it this way, stop raising rates. Doing some remakes on roof will listen. Oh, that's cool. I hear you. I do the same thing. I like doing multiple things like that, listening, and so yeah, it's going to be interesting. Mr. Powell comes out today, raises a 0.25 percentage point, and then has a news conference, and he's got to find a way to make it sound like he's not really going to raise rates when he wants to raise rates. Because he's really a blind squirrel. He has no idea what he's doing. Poor Mr. Powell. He's confused. He's the runt of the litter. I guess when you put someone like Yellen in before him, who has no, I guess we could say, integrity, and everybody thought she was like, oh my God, they thought she was great. You know, she had great integrity and so forth. And then you listen to her as Secretary of Treasury, and it's like, oh my God, what a fool she is. She is not sure what she's doing on a given day. I mean, that crazy, some of her statements over the last 2.5 years have been horrible. Just horrible financially. When you're Fed chairman, you can be very philosophical. You don't have to be very committable. Just push the right lever at the right time and don't say anything. That's the way it should be. Bring on the algorithm. That's what I say. All right. Oh, let's put that line in there too. Right there. Because we probably won't be thinking about it again until tomorrow. So more than likely it will stay in the buy. And if it doesn't, then we'll erase it. All right. And let's save it. And now let's go over to... what do? We go over to King Peso at this point. The potential leader of the BRICS. When I tell people who are really into the BRICS about the way I've kind of looked at the indice of it, like a dollar index type thing, they're like, "You're crazy. China is going to be number one." It's like China is like insignificant. It's not even a flea on a dog's back. China would be lucky if they get 2% of the index. But the peso, let's put it up over there. The Mexican peso, that could be a major part of the index. It could be 55% of the whole index. And then from there it'll go to the South African rand, and then from there to the Indian rupee. And someday when the Russian Federation actually feels like it's going to, get in the job of business instead of irritating everybody, then I could see them becoming a major player, just like the way Canadian is in the dollar index, or the British pound is in the dollar index. I could see it jump in that position. And who knows? With all the resources and potential, anything's possible if they can only get their intellectual side going. Unfortunately, right now, they've got their caveman side going. Me, caveman. Me, kill. Ugh. All right. From there, from the King Peso, we slide over to the Canadian. And there's the Canadian. You see it's rising, which is not the best thing for oil. And when we go and look at Mr. and Mrs. Oil, let's put it up on this screen right there. Light dollar index right there. You see it's been moving down as this has been moving up. And now it's accelerating, as you can see right there. And then when we go over to Chicago Quant, right there, the front month getting smacked down into the 60s again. Second day in a sell. I'm not sure why. Oh, no, that's right. It's been in a sell from back here and kept on having red and green dots, so we couldn't get into the buy. It was very close. And then finally, and it's been in a weekly sell too from back here in the 77, 78 area. So there isn't much surprise when looking at the oil market, except for the idea that the oil market wants to go down. Down, 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 down. And then from there, we take a spin over to South Africa. Right there. And we put up the South African rand right there. And you can see this poor thing is all politically out now at this point. It doesn't know if it's coming or going. Yesterday it was up. And at the same time, gold was up. Oh my God, this poor thing is so beat up from politics. Now today, they're taking it down. It's like it's following the gold now instead of leading the gold. That's because of all the entanglement of the politics. And so when we go over to here, let's go over to here and put up gold right there. There's that move yesterday. Normally, when you had moves like this, before all that politics stuff that crushed the government down there, uh, if you would have saw that yesterday, gold would have joined in later. Instead, the currency now is lagging gold instead of leading gold. It means it tells you that they don't know what they're doing. In other words, they're trapped inside the haircut of the political turmoil. Seems like the majority wants him to resign, the president, but he refuses. So instead, the currency is paying the price. Instead of being with gold over the $2,000 area, the South African rand should be in the 14s, not the 18s. Instead, it's in the 18s when it should be in the 14s. And you can see from that point of politics right here, when that chaos was exploding in the presidential suite of the government itself, we got trapped from 17. Next thing you know, it was trading up to 18.5. It should have been at 15.5. And with gold at the same time coming down the way it has, it should have been in the 14s, like 1470, 1480, something like that. Okay, from there, we what do we do next? We do. I guess that's the done. We're done the currencies at the moment. So, Benny, you want to take a quick peek at the GBP AUD? Let's see what they're doing there, and then we'll close it down. How's that? And there it is, right there. It almost got into the sell there, dropped underneath the zero line, but we had a green dot. And then you can see, the next day, no problem. It, sold off. And we're in a weekly buy at the same time. So right now, this product is basically trying. Let's get that line in there too. Let's put that line in there, right there. So what it's trying to tell us is that it wants to rise again. This selling is not something you sell, you buy off of it. And we'll see next week or even Thursday, Friday. See if they find this thing in the 190s or 188 or something like that. 189. Somewhere's around there. There it is. And that seems to be the recipe of it all. It was interesting that we got this red and the green and not a red out of it. And then, the next day, because it was underneath the manifold, the moment we got a red dot, that was all right to be short, and you could have traded most of that day on the downside if you were using options, not if you're just using the underlining, because we're in weekly buys. So instead, you just take your profits from this action here, and then wait to buy it lower. Now today they're higher again, and that would make sense to me. But it would have been nice if it would just give us another low today. But that's the way it goes. But one thing for sure is you're not short it. The only way you can play it short is through a binary, so that at least you don't get stopped out. And the real strength of it all is that away. Let's see. There, I'm just answering that forever. Just answering a text here. There we go. All done there. Okay. So, from there, what else can we say? I guess that's about it. Just buy on the weakness when we get back into a buy. When it starts to turn up. Now, from there, we go from that. We go over to 2222. We slide over to, I guess we can go finish off the metals. Let's go look at the metals. That's the S&Ps. You can see they're backing off a little bit from the high of the day after the ADP number came out. And that took all the steam out of the action. Now let's move over to right there. There it is. Let's take a look at silver. And there's silver. And it's still in that sell. And the weekly is really starting to threaten. Can it really fall? I doubt it. But, 23s, 24s is no problem in that product. Yeah, Benny says, just a quick recap on gold, please. Yeah. Yeah, gold, on the other hand, compared to the South African Rand, is the leader now, and you can see it's holding up out of the two. And so the gold went into a buy yesterday right there. Our weekly is on the edge on the fast to be underneath. It was there last week and this week, and we've had that sloppiness. But the slow one, the green line, is still holding up. So it looks to me like there's some strength. Now, we've seen platinum constantly reflect weakness. Let's go show you platinum, because that seems to be the leader. You can see it's been in that sell since that sell-off there. But the weekly is in the buy. I would say that they're probably waiting for today. Today could be literally the big news for the metals complex. What Mr. Powell says in the meeting could be very important for gold. And he's going to speak in 5 hours. Or he's going to release his numbers in 5 hours, and then 5.5 hours from now he's going to have his news conference. So that's kind of like the real gist of it all. Is metals markets maybe literally staring at Mr. Powell more than we realize. And I'm starting to think that. And so they've showed strength in some things, like gold, and in here platinum for the last week and a half has been sliding down, but not in a weekly sell right there. So you see that. Then you go back over to silver, and it pretty much has that same action. It's really going nowhere. It's consolidating. And so it may find another leg on the upside once Mr. Powell makes it clear what he's thinking. And that's what it really comes down to. And we all know that he's not exactly a big thinker. He just kind of stumbles and rambles. Now here's copper. Copper's been, getting pressed down. We're in a weekly sell the whole bit, And because of that, the metals complex is trying to tell us, in copper in particular, is trying to tell us that they're just consolidating. And I imagine that, like you would think copper will hold out in the 370s, 380s, and start to lift back up again when metals take off. But I think they're waiting for Mr. Powell. Benny says, what would affect it, as in, like, how would the news affect it? Well, if Mr. Powell comes out and says that he's found that he needs to see the actions of the interest rate effects, some hint, any hint that he is thinking about pausing will give pressure on the upside to the metals, I would assume. And that's how it should affect it. Now, he doesn't have to come out and say I'm pausing. He just has to give in a suggestion that he would like to look at the numbers more seriously before they make the next decision. Something like that, He doesn't have to say, we're going to pause. He just has to say something like that to hint that he may pause. That's all we're looking for there. So I would say that's what we're probably seeing in the metals market, especially when you look back at the way it has trapped itself. Let's just go like this with it. You can see overall, this is what, copper, right? So it's pretty much just, ran up. Everybody was anticipating the last interest rate increase. Now we are having another one again. And so they're hoping. China's not coming back as fast as people thought it was going to. We didn't think it was coming back at all. So we're down the middle of the road on that. And then when you go back and look at gold has that same gig going on. They're just kind of flirting. In this case here, it's supporting this up here, which is interesting. The 1950-2000 area seems to be support out of nowhere. Again, it's nothing to move that complex. When they want to take it, make it go, it goes. It's kind of like oil in some ways, but not nowhere near as aggressive. Oil is the most aggressive of the commodities that people trade every day, as far as I'm concerned. It can have 35, 40 volatility with no problem and not mean anything whatsoever. It doesn't. In other words, people are always looking at volatility, hoping it will give insight to the direction of a market, and it doesn't usually do it. So, all right, I'm going to jump over to oil, unless you want to see something more on the metals complex. And there is the front month oil. You can see it's below 69.5, and the back month must be like 68.25 or something like that. 68.83. Why did I say 68.25? Let me go back to the other one. 69.5. Okay, they're tightening it up. That's what it is. So the back month now is only 70 cents. It was over $1 yesterday and the day before. So they're starting to say, okay, I don't think we want to sell it so much in September, which is really an August contract when you really think about it. And so oil is doing that. All we've seen when it comes to natural gas, and let's put Brent up there too. There's Brent on J4X. As you can see there, it's a slow, steady slide, and we're in the low 74s now. It's not as falling as fast as West Texas is. All right, and then from there, we jump over to, where do we jump over to? We go to natural gas, right there. And that gas is threatening the $2 area again. It's at $2.10. Wow. 210. 210 fighting for 211. Yowzer. And let's put it up over here. Right there. And we're really, there it is. I'm sorry, it's 217, not 210.11. So it's 217. So it's 17 cents away from $2 again. Hear that, Metho? Only 47 cents away. You'll get her. I get a feeling you're going to get her. And then they'll probably drive it back up to the 2.5 area or something like that. From there, we go to Spain, and we check out what they're doing with the energy company down in Spain. Yesterday it broke the 28. I was really happy about that. Nice seeing it going down. I want to see it down to 21 or 20 or something like that. There it is, Espanol. 27, 77, 72s are bid for. Okay, good. Because it was in the 80s and 90s yesterday. So this is good. 2 days in a row now we're underneath the 28s. What an arbitrage. $27, basically, almost $28 for a cubic foot of natural gas in the United States. It's $2.17. Tenfold. Yow. 10 times. It's a big number. All right, and then from there, that's pretty much the energy, and we've seen what the metals look like. And so, like I said earlier in the webinar today, I was really surprised to see the. Let's put Bitcoin up on J4X. Right there, and I was really surprised that we're still having some issues. That really unnerves me on the long side when we see that. Let's put it up over on J4X too. Because usually the markets do have that habit of following the cryptos. There it is right there. Yeah, it's down again today. So we're just kind of, and it's in that weekly buy though at the same time. So, it just doesn't want to let go. Doesn't want to let go. And we're just hanging out here. Again, it's another consolidation more than anything else. I was listening to a hedge fund guy yesterday on one of the financial channels. Metho says, I need the crash price. Yeah, I hear you. Well, that's 170, that's for sure. Jerome will do it for me. He could. He's going to throw the dice. That's no surprise to me. Come on, 170. I know. I would love. What do you think the Spanish company will be trading it at? If it gets down to $1.70 in the States, I say 25, 26. I'd say probably 26 since they seem to be dragging their feet. They don't seem to be. I mean, with the prices so low, they don't seem to. When it comes to American stuff, they're not really taking the rest of it down. So, all right. What else is there? Let's see. What else have we got going on here? That's the energies. Oh yeah. So there's crypto. Okay. So that bothers me. And then when we go over and look at the S&P 500, right there. You see the S&P is kind of sloppy. The same thing with it down yesterday. It's trying to lift today. We're okay. We're back up to 44 almost now. Right there. You can see that. No, that's not it. It's right there. Oh, again, we missed it. Come on. Click that thing. There we are. You see they're trying to lift it up again. Now at 44. This is the intraday. And you can see here, they went into a sell there, and it's got a lot of work to do. It's been in the buy since yesterday after. What time is that? Well, that's last night in the Asian hours. So yeah, we're just waiting and seeing, waiting and seeing. And you can see here, I don't know. I think that the market is going to try to push Powell. I think they're going to just do something. The bonds are rising. The 30-year, you see that they're rising in price. Interest rates are dropping. They don't care. I'm looking for a van. Oh wait, here you go. European Union Parliament is crazy. Everything is possible. Oh my God, yeah. I mean, they are so upside down, the European Union at this point. It's amazing. They're lucky they have some really solid countries like Hungary and Poland and so forth, trying to keep them in line more. Yeah, I mean, they're just. It's like they want to take a time out in life. That's what it seems like all the time with them. They just cannot get their acts together whatsoever. Metho 2000 says T5. Oh, VW, T%. I'm looking for a van. Okay. California, they're trying to outlaw diesel engines or something like that. I don't know. The whole world is really upside down. The electromagnetic field is diminishing on our planet, making people crazy. We got the North Pole now in Siberia. It's moved almost 1,800 miles now. We got the South Pole heading towards Australia at this point in time. It's going to shoot past Australia in the next 10 to 15 years, and it's going to be like off the coast of Brazil. And so the next Arctic circle will be Brazil. I mean, we got all kinds of things going on. You take a compass, look for true north, it's not there anymore. It has moved. So it's making people crazy. Crazy. So all I do is sit and watch it. There's not much you can do about it. No one wants to listen. No one wants to believe. But those numbers are true. 1,800 miles now, the North Pole has moved into Siberia. And do you see it on the news? No. They talk about climate change like as if we're doing it. It's the whole solar system is upside down. And we're just seeing the craziness from it. All right. Where else can we go, guys and gals? We have anything else we want to look at here? We can open up anything as long as I got it. And usually I have it, so we can open it. It's kind of like the room of requirements in Harry Potter and at Hogwarts. If you need it, you just go there to get it. And it's there. He just pulled up. Okay. Well, traders, I'm going to try to get out of here a little bit earlier today. That's why I was also starting off. Let's see. And so... let's see what's it. Okay. There we go. So, I guess the things that make me the most nervous at the moment is the fact that We're not, we're not seeing any adult supervision. Same thing with the debt ceiling in the United States. It's also being crazy. We have people just not willing to, I don't know, think, act, be responsible, be adult. I don't know. You describe it, because I can't figure it out anymore how to describe it. What else can we say about the rest of this day? I guess we will watch and see. So, this will be me signing off. How about that? So I only did like 50 minutes today. And I'm going to get prepared for the market. Unless you guys see something you want to talk about, I'm going to get out of here. And I know the other thing I'm concerned about is the before I leave, I just want to remind you is watch the cryptos. The cryptos will tell us if Powell's saying what the market's like, equity markets like and interest rate markets like, you're going to see it in the cryptos. Out of nowhere, the cryptos will just start to rally. It'll really firm up, I would think. That's my opinion. It has been leading for a long time now, the bonds and the equities, the stock indices. So I'm figuring that's probably going to be the answer to it all in the end. All right, traders. This is Doc from North America. We will see you again tomorrow. Same time, same channel. And maybe I'll try to get on early again tomorrow, like 5 minutes earlier, so that we're, really getting into the meat of it all. We can discuss what Mr. Powell did in, 3 hours? No, 4 hours. Let's see, so 9 is 3, 2 is 5. What he does in about 5 hours. And that's really what this whole day is about at this point. So, happy trails to you until we meet again. Happy trails to you, to all our trading friends. Later, traders. Have a good and smart day. Be careful because the Fed is going to be driving us totally crazy as usual. So, ta-ta for now.